Hi guys, welcome to a new year. Today we're talking about how to become the ultimate cool girl. During the time between Christmas and New Year's, like that time that nothing gets done because you don't really know what to do with yourself, the year is ending, the new year hasn't begun, I decided to fully dive into my vision boards. And that for me looked like looking at the whole last year and seeing what worked, seeing what didn't work, seeing what I wanted to put into the new year and eliminate from the new year. And I came up with a list of so many things that I want to do this year in order to be my best self. I was thinking about making this whole video all about how to create the perfect vision board. But then as I was doing that, I realized in order to make all of your goals and dreams happen, you basically have to be the best version of yourself. You can't just be the old version of yourself and make all your dreams happen. You have to come into it hot, like the best version of yourself. So I decided that today, instead of talking about just making goals and such, I want to talk about being the ultimate cool girl, which is what we all want, let's be honest. Okay, let's jump right into this because I have 10 things I want to go through that I think make an ideal ultimate cool girl. You can add some, you can delete some. A lot of these things are not necessarily what makes you the trendiest person or the one that's going to go viral on TikTok, but it literally makes you the coolest girl in the room. Cool girls aren't just doing what the trends are. They're standing out, doing their own thing, being themselves, and being someone that just ultimately stands out because they're so unique. So let's start with number one. Number one is simply having your own unique personal style. This means looking put together, smelling good, wearing accessories that accentuate parts of you that you are really confident about. When you have your own personal style, you ultimately just stand out because you're not just going along with the status quo. You're not just wearing something because it looks good on somebody else. You're wearing stuff that really accentuates the body type that you have. You find jewelry that makes you feel good. You have a hairstyle that again, accentuates your features, and everything that you do style-wise just makes you look put together. I live in the mountains and I see a lot of people just go about their day not wearing makeup because it is a very active community. But the thing is putting on a little bit of mascara or lip gloss goes such a long way and makes you look way put together. And people want to talk to people that look like they tried a little bit. So my suggestion to you is, number one, make sure you're always giving a little effort to your style. If you haven't developed your personal style yet, watch videos that help you put together outfits or help you decide on some brands that you might like to try, because developing your style can be such a fun thing. And even if you just have one outfit you feel really confident in, that will enhance your beauty tenfold. Number two might be my favorite on this list, and it's to be genuinely curious when you meet people or when you see people. And that means asking interesting questions. It doesn't just mean saying, hey, how are you? Good. How are you? Like, actually get in a little bit deeper. And if you don't know what questions to ask, all it takes is a little bit of practice. You can have a few go-to questions that you always ask when you see people, and that'll help a lot. The key to asking interesting questions is to make sure that they're open-ended and they can't really answer them with one-word answers. If people answer them with one-word answers, then maybe it's just time to move on to the next person. I like to ask, have you done anything interesting lately? Then they really have to think about something interesting, and it can be a good story. Another good one is, do you have any good trips coming up? Or did you take any exciting trips this year that you want to talk about? Or another one could be like, what fun thing do you have coming up this month? Because those are easy ones that everybody can usually participate in, and they end up coming out with some interesting answers. All in all, this is just about being genuinely curious about people and wondering what makes them tick. Because at the end of the day, everyone loves talking about themselves more than listening. So if you can really get interested in the conversation, it'll make for some great conversations, and you'll find out some really cool things about people and maybe make a friend. Okay, number 3 kind of goes along with number 2, because if you are asked that question of what are you up to lately, you want to have a good answer for that. The hardest thing is when you're talking to somebody and you're talking about, hey, what have you been up to lately? Oh, I've been up to work and it's so boring. You don't want to hear about it. But you know what I do want to hear about? If your work is so boring, I'd love to hear what you do when you go home to fill your time. And if all you're doing when you go home is watching TV, maybe it's time for you to get a hobby. Having a really interesting hobby is super fun to talk about because a lot of people can typically relate to a hobby that you might have. For example, it's the ski season here in Jackson Hole, so of course I'm out skiing, and that's an easy topic of conversation. Oh, what are you doing in your free time? Well, I'm skiing at the resort, but I'm getting better at backcountry skiing, and that can lead into something way more interesting, and maybe you'll find a new ski partner in the meantime. So always have a passion that you're working on, and if you don't, think about little things that you like to do, maybe read a new book about it, or even if you're learning a little bit of something about a new subject, that can be really interesting to talk about as well. Okay, the 4th thing about being the ultimate cool girl is to have strong opinions so that you can say your opinions on things and stand your ground, but also have some gray areas. Be open to what other people say so that you can have interesting conversations. So having strong opinions doesn't mean fighting for your point. It more means if somebody asks you a question, you have a stance on it. You're not just wishy-washy and saying, well, I don't know, I don't really care about that. If somebody asks you a question about something, they really want to learn about you. Having opinions often means learning more about subjects as well. So it's important to also continue learning on your own time because you don't want your opinions when people ask you a question to be opinions of your spouse or opinions that your parents had. Having your own opinions makes you just a more attractive person in general. It just makes you come off as a more powerful person. And then, as I mentioned, kind of part 2 of this is even if you have a strong opinion about something, be willing to see the other person's side because obviously not everyone in the world is going to agree with all of your opinions. As we can see on social media, it's way easier for people to fight about subjects than it is for them to agree about things. And I think an important part of growing and maturing as an adult is to be able to have a strong opinion about something, but be empathetic to others and allow yourself to see where they're coming from. And you might learn a little bit of something. Say you're really strong politically or with your religious stance. It's super interesting if you can keep an open mind and listen to why other people might feel the way they can. It helps them feel heard. And in turn, people are going to like you so much more. Okay, moving on to the next one. We have simply laughing a lot. Cool girls laugh a lot. They don't take themselves too serious and they just have a good time with life. It's way more fun to be around someone who's easygoing, is willing to laugh at maybe even your stupid jokes than it is for someone to kind of give you the side eye and make you feel weird. So if you can be anyone, be that girl that laughs with somebody and makes them feel good about themselves. At the end of the day, it's way more fun to have an uplifting, funny conversation than it is to be serious all the time. And of course, there are times that laughing is not part of the conversation, but the more you can laugh, the better you're going to feel. It'll give you those endorphins and you'll just have a better day. And another trick in order to maybe get more people to laugh with you is to become a better storyteller. If you have some funny stories that happened in your past, practice telling them by yourself in front of the mirror until you make it kind of into a funny story. All stories can be told in multiple ways, and you can make a story really boring, or you can make a story really exciting. So if you have some good stories in your past and you want to have some go-to stories if you're in a conversation, practice telling some funny stories and then bring them up in conversation. Everybody loves a great story, so become a better storyteller and you'll become a better conversationalist. All right, the next one on our list to becoming the ultimate cool girl this year is to travel more and learn more about different cultures. And if it's not in your budget to travel this year, no big deal. You can go online and learn so much, especially watching documentaries of different cultures. Social media is super accessible, anything online. You can learn so much about different cultures if you just put in some time and effort. But traveling in general can give you such a different view of the world than maybe you grew up with, or maybe the friends you're around right now, they don't really bring a new culture into your life. And no, it's not necessary to do this, but it just makes you such a well-rounded person and cool. You have topics to talk about that aren't necessarily just what you know, but you can explain things from different perspectives of what you learned maybe across the world. And not even across the world. Here in the US, when I was a tour guide taking international travelers across the US, I encountered so many different parts of the United States that were almost like being in different countries. So you don't have to go that far to experience something really new and get enriched culturally. And if nothing else, go to a restaurant in your town that isn't the typical food that you usually eat and learn something about a different type of food and maybe try cooking it at home. I personally love to do that. And so I would encourage you guys to do the same. I'm getting up close and personal for this next one because this one is for real, for real. As a cool girl, cool girls operate financially well. That means that we're being smart financially this year. We're not just buying things to buy them. We are saving, we are investing, and we are managing our money well. I didn't grow up learning about money. I used to suck at managing my money. I'm happy to say that I feel like I'm pretty great at managing my money now, and I can always get better. But for me, that process looked like looking my accounts in the eye, not avoiding them, and actually realizing what I had to do in order to manage my money better. Having to come to terms with how I was managing money in my life was one of my lower points and really sucked. But coming around and being on the other side of that feels so good. I'm not out here living paycheck to paycheck. I can do what I want when I want. And there is truly no better feeling than being able to not stress about money. And out of anything else, I probably want that for you guys the most. I want you guys to feel powerful financially. If you don't feel that way right now, I would say look at any debt that you have and get out of that as quickly as you can. Read some books that are very uplifting financially and will help you figure out how you can get out of your debt or get to a better place money-wise. If you want me to do a video on what helped me the most, I would be more than happy to, but that will have to be another one. Let me know. All right, moving on to the next one, which is all about bringing good energy into any space that you walk into. That means walking in confident. I actively think about this when I walk into any space now. If I'm just walking in kind of hunched over and with a big coat on and looking down, no more of that. I make sure I put my shoulders back, stand as tall as I can, and walk in super confidently. Because no matter if anyone cares that I'm walking in, there's such a difference in walking in the first way as opposed to the second way. And walking in confidently just puts you one step ahead of the game right off the bat. And along with that, make sure that you're smiling, you bring the compliments, you bring a good attitude, you bring positivity. All these things will just make you a cooler girl to be around. Because if you think about it and you're standing in a circle of people that you don't even know, the one that's standing up tall, positively answering people when they talk, giving off smiles instead of frowning and kind of like looking like they don't care that much. There's a huge difference. And who do you want to be around? You want to be around the person that's bringing the good energy. And there's just no question about it. If you can bring good energy into a space, people want to be friends with you. They want to be around you and they feel really attracted to you. This next one is so huge for me. And I kind of think it's a personal thing, but to me, this makes you a super cool girl if you never have any excuses. Because at the end of the day, excuses are just excuses. They really have no merit behind them. And it's just kind of laziness. I'm just going to say it how it is. But when you're talking to somebody and you ask them what they're doing in life or like what they're working on, and they tell you that they really want to do so-and-so, have this big idea, but then they give you a list of excuses why it's not going to work or why they haven't started yet. Like, no, that's lame. Instead, cool girls talk about what they want and how they're going to get it. So if you find yourself thinking of a lot of excuses or telling people why things can't happen, turn that around, because it really doesn't take that much effort to turn around your excuses in order to make them more positive. Instead of saying, I really want to start a band, but I don't have a piano, say, I really want to start a band and I'm saving for a piano. That was like a simple but to and. So if you're trying to become a better skier, I'm really trying to become a better skier, but I have nobody to teach me. Say, I'm really trying to become a better skier and I'm going out every single day in order to practice more. And people will be so willing to help you if they know that you've started something. It's hard to help somebody who just has excuses. But if you're a self-starter and you're ready to go for something, then people want to gather around you and help you. So no excuses this year. Okay, that brings us to number 10, which is being brave, taking solo trips, and making your own decisions. I just feel like there is something so cool about a girl who can just forge her own path and do her own thing and doesn't need anybody else to give her permission. This is the year that we stop asking for permission. We be brave. We try new things. We go on trips by ourselves if we can't find anybody to go with us. We just do things without getting an okay from everyone else. If you're the type of person that always asks permission for everything you do, try to do a few things throughout this week, throughout this next month, that you just do them. You don't even tell anybody you're doing them. And those things will trickle down and make you feel a little bit more powerful one by one. And all of a sudden, you'll just be this more confident version of yourself. Okay, guys, that was my 10 things. Hopefully some of these things that you guys are going to give a try. If not all of them, just pick out 1 or 2 new things that you can work on this year, because honestly, this stuff will change your life. Even if you don't care about being the coolest girl in the room, these things will make you such a better conversationalist, will make you more interesting, will get you more friends, will help you network better. It's just about being a little bit better version of yourself, caring about the people around you, and putting your best foot forward. And at the end of the day, that's all you really can do. You don't have to be this fake version of yourself. Just be a little bit more cognizant of what you're putting out into the world, and you'll get awesome stuff back. That's one of my favorite, I don't know if it's a quote or what it is, but it's true that what you put out into the world is what you get back. So put out some good energy, put out high energy, positive vibes. And I'm so excited for you guys to have such an awesome year, a great year ahead. I'm looking forward to putting out more vlogs for you guys. And that's all I have for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's talk more about these subjects, because I actually get really excited talking about all these things. And I will see you guys next time.